What's up, fight fans? Mademan here. Y'all know how I get down. We talking boxing, man. What up to the fam? And what up to everybody in Mainman's boxing form? Hey, look, man, so the thing is this. So I managed to catch the recent interview that was done by Turki Alalshik over there with the Ring Magazine and Mike Coppinger, man. And he let quite a few Jews out in that particular interview that I'll be talking about in the coming days. But also he gave some updates when it comes to the Canelo and Crawford event and what's the undercard is going to look like. This is something that fans have been speculating about and wondering about of what the undercard is going to look like. And the only thing that we've heard up until this point what the undercard is going to look like is the fact that Turki Alalshik came out a couple weeks ago, dropped a list of fighters that he would like to see on the undercard. And these were young up-and-comers, pretty much unknown fighters. In the list that he dropped, we didn't recognize most of the names on the list, with the exception of maybe one, and that was Abdullah Mason. But that's all we've heard from Turki Alalshik when it comes to this undercard, at least up until this point, was that he just wanted a bunch of young up-and-comers to get more exposure, given there's going to probably be a lot of eyeballs on this card, and he wanted them to get some exposure. But that's about as far as all we've heard. And so now, listening to this interview, it looked like we got a bit more clarity of the direction that they want to go in the undercard here. And I'm glad that they did this and he let this out, man. And according to Turki Alalshik, it looks as if that we're going to get pretty much two cards here, fight fans. And it looked like we're going to get an earlier card, like a preliminary card, and then we're going to get a main card. And according to Turki Alalshik, on this supposed preliminary card, which my guess is where he's mostly going to look to put the young and up-and-comers, because according to Turki Alalshik, he wants to do 6 to 10 fights on that preliminary card. That's right, fight fans. 6 to 10 fights. That's a lot of damn fights, you know what I mean? And then according to Turki Alalshik, there's going to be a main card. And on this particular main card, they're looking to stage about 4 fights on this main card. Of course, with the main event being Canelo versus Crawford. And the only fight that he spoke about during this interview that he says that they've been working on for this main card is Jared Big Baby Anderson versus Jarrell Big Baby Miller. Battle of the Big Babies, huh, man? But that's the only one. And that's not quite finalized yet. Of course, everything has got to be finalized and smoothed over. He's got to make sure that everything is cool with Top Rank. Everything is cool with Jarrell Miller and his people. And if they can put it all together, and he says that they're pretty much looking to do that one. That's pretty much the only fight that he mentioned on the main card. So this probably leaves about 2 more slots of them figuring out who they're going to put on this card. So that's very, very interesting. And also, fight fans, during this interview, I noticed that one current thing just keep on arising. It arose in the interview. I've seen some reporters speak about it and ask about it. Also, I think they spoke about it in the press conference. And the one thing, because we're all trying to figure out exactly the timing of this fight, of when they're going to show this fight. I honestly think that this main card is going to be closer to the evening time. Definitely going to be closer to the evening, because everyone is concerned about whether or not this card is going to run into the UFC no shave fight card. So, and according to Turki Alalshik and Dana White and everyone involved, the UFC card is not going to start until the Crawford and Canelo card has ended. And so that definitely lets us know that Canelo and Crawford's portion of the card is going to be shown more than likely in the evening time. You know what I'm saying? So that's good. That's good stuff right there. Well, back to this undercard, man. I gotta tell you, man. Oh no, just also to mention it. Maybe this is also what Turki Alalshik, and when he was saying that him and Dana is going to view the fights quick and after they leave breakfast or whatever. More than likely, he's talking about that preliminary card, right? So, but I want to say now, but back to the undercard. You know, these 2 slots that needs to be filled, and it seems as if that Turki is like looking at him in the interview. He's kind of scratching his head and doesn't know exactly right now what those matchups are going to be. And I'm gonna just say it, fight fans. Let's just call it for what it is. It's clear as day that Turki Alalshik is winging a lot of this, man. He's just winging it. You know what I'm saying? Putting it together day by day with each and every passing day. You know what I'm saying? You could tell by the scheduling, you know, the date, the venue, and all that's going on with this. We still got some unknown questions about what's going to happen with UNLV. You know what I'm saying? It just seems like there's a lot of winging it going on. And I mean, listen, at the end of the day, from a boxing fan standpoint, as long as that final product, whatever it looks like, it's all together, put together well, something that we all looking forward to in the end, that's really much all I'm concerned about. Now, I get it. We're used to getting all of this information out early, especially before the presses, right? We're used to knowing the dates, the venues. We're knowing the undercard, who's going to be on there, the whole 9 yards. But in this case, Turki Alalshik is clearly winging it. And I think that this, to me, suggests that Turki Alalshik need better boxing people around him, in my opinion. Not to mention help with to know exactly what matchups should be on this undercard instead of just sitting there scratching your head. Because Turki, you got control of a lot of fighters and a lot of good matchups that a lot of boxing fans would definitely want to see. I'm telling you, bro, you just need to have the right people around you to let you know what those matchups are, because it seems like you're having a little bit of trouble in that department. But I'm going to give my suggestion. I've already kind of done that here, fight fans. We've spoken about that here on the channel, and it hasn't changed, man. The name that I would love to see pop up on this undercard, especially on that main card, co-main, if you ask me, you know what I'm saying? But if not co-main, at least the fight before the co-main, I would love to see my main man, David Benavidez, in the building. Absolutely. I think that David is the perfect name to put on this card. If you put David Benavidez versus Callum Smith or David Benavidez versus Anthony Yard on this card, it would just make beautiful sense, and would make it make more sense if you also add Dmitry Bivol versus Artur Beterbiev's trilogy, the final fight of their trilogy, on this undercard as well. And then with that setup right there, you got more stories, more narrative, you got more value being added to this card, because a lot of fans are going to sit back and wonder, well, what happens with David? If he wins, is he going to run up on Beterbiev? Is he going to run up on Bivol? Is he going to run up on Canelo? You know what I'm saying? Like, these stories and talking points would then exist for boxing fans, and it would just make this event just a lot more lit. You know what I'm saying? I think that David is the perfect candidate for the undercard, and Bivol and Beterbiev's trilogy definitely makes sense for this undercard as well. Not to mention, even with Canelo being on it, Canelo would look to those undercard fights, because I listened to Turki, who stated that he wanted to continue to be in business with Canelo beyond this fight, and him and Canelo is going to be sitting down and talking about an extension. So if that is the case, you definitely want to be in the business of David Benavidez, just in case, right? Because my thing is, look, even if Terence Crawford beats, knockout Canelo Alverez, whatever the case may be, and if Crawford want to go off into the sunset, retire, or maybe even go back down and wait, at the end of the day, you still having Canelo would then keep, Canelo may want to get his name back with another big name fight, and him and David would just make sense. It would just make sense. That would be the fight that all boxing fans will want to see from Canelo Alvarez going forward, post Bud Crawford, you know what I'm saying? And especially if he wins. And it would be nice if you've already kind of got him in that position and already on good business terms with David Benavidez. Now, David Benavidez has already came out stating that, listen, he's already spoken with Turki Alalshik about a fight. Him and Turki was talking about doing a fight in Alcatraz, fight fans. And David was like, nah, he would prefer to fight in front of fans, which I'm sure that we can all kind of understand that. And most importantly, David came out recently letting it be known that he is loyal to PBC and Al Heyman, which, I'm saying, that's good stuff too. But my deal is also, Turki during this interview spoke and said that, listen, he's doing business with Al Heyman and PBC. If you notice, Turki said, if you notice on my cards, I always have 1 or 2 PBC fighters on my cards. I'm already doing business with Al. So my thing is, if that door is open, And especially if Al is maybe having some struggles getting David that payday that he's looking for, maybe that's where you step in at if you can. And see if you can lure David Benavidez to this card with the promise, perhaps, that he can get the winner of maybe Beterbiev and Bivol, or maybe even the winner of Canelo and Crawford. Well, pending Canelo wins, of course, right? Which I don't see that happening. But even so much, still just fight Canelo, even if he loses. So I just think that David fits the bill, man. I mean, bro, I'll be on the edge of my seat wondering that or not, is David going to run in the ring after Bivol and Beterbiev? Is he going to run in there and try to get up in Canelo's face? Like all of that type of stuff, man, I'll be sitting on the edge of my seat wondering. It'll just be more talking points for us boxing fans, more videos that will come out about this event, adding David Benavidez. Now, the golden question about this is whether or not David will want to be added to this card. That is a big question. And the reason that I say this is because we've seen what happens when a fighter uses David on their undercard and how it makes him feel. If we go back not too long ago, we remember that David was on the undercard of Gervonta Tank Davis. And Gervonta was real happy about that, wasn't he? He was super happy about that because he knew that David would add tremendous value to his card. And he wanted to go forward and do more cards in the future with David on the undercard. However, David was like, nah, you know what? I did that for Tank and that's cool, but nah, I'd rather do my own cards. David probably is stepping into a point in his career where he feels as though his name is big enough and he's done enough to where he should be his own main event. And maybe he doesn't want to lend his spotlight in helping other fighters at this current point in his career. That is something that I just don't know. I think that the only thing that Turki will be able to do to get around that notion if it comes up is pay him more money. That's the name of the game. But even so much though, a major difference from David being on Tank's undercard as opposed to this card is the fact that there's no future implications in it for David. David ain't gonna fight Tank, right? You know what I mean? So there ain't nothing in it for David for the future. But if he's added to this card, well, look, it just puts him a step closer to undisputed if he want to take on the winner of Bivol and Beterbiev, right? We know he got the WBC, but he got an email to him. So why not go in there and go after undisputed at 175 next after they're done? And you can be right there to ensure and get them on wax or get them on camera that, yeah, they down to do the fight. And I think if Turki sees that, yeah, Bivol or Beterbiev is down, okay, cool. And I got David, oh yeah, let's make it work. I think that just all makes sense. And see, these are future implications for David. And of course, where is Canelo going to find his next super fight? It will more than likely have to be David, unless Canelo wants to get in there with the winner of Bivol and Beterbiev. This is why these fights on this undercard makes so much sense, because there's so many future stories that can come out by just adding David and adding Bivol and Beterbiev. It makes perfect sense, man. Real spill. And these fights can all be made under the Turki umbrella. The only one he will have to do the working on is David Benavidez. So that's what I would love to see for this undercard, man. I think that just makes all of the sense in the world. I thought that Shakur Stevenson would have made sense on the undercard too, given the the camaraderie between him and Terence Crawford. But we know that Shakur's be fighting Williams Zepeda real soon, and he may not be ready in time to to do a September turnaround and get right back in the ring. But it would have been good to see maybe Shakur on that undercard. But I think that if Turki in the end can finalize Bivol and Beterbiev, whether it be co-main or the one before co-main, same for David Benavidez and Callum Smith, or David and Anthony Yard. And if you still want to do the Big Baby versus Big Baby fight, that is a smoking ass card, homie. Fit for the billing of this card. This is a historic event, bro. You got a historic belt in this. So why not do it all the way big? Hashtag big time, right? Get David Benavidez all day. Thumbs up on the way out if you didn't hit it on the way in. Share. Rock the bells. We get up real soon on the live stream, fight fans. He make this happen. I'm telling you, man, this is the card of the century. And it just would just, oh man, it'd just add just an extra layer of just intrigue to the whole event. We will see. To the next video, man. Peace out.